Alright, hello 8th grade. So today we're looking at some ways of solving systems of equations algebraically. So the same sort of things that we've been looking at graphing, but we're learning some ways to solve them without having to graph them. Because not everything is going to graph nicely. Sometimes we'll have big numbers, sometimes we'll have decimals, we'll have fractions, we'll have lines that aren't crossing at a nice point where we can tell exactly where it is on a graph. So I want some other ways to solve these things. So we're going to be looking at one of them today, and they're going to get a little bit trickier once we're back in person. So we're looking at the ones that aren't too bad today. Now, even if we're not graphing them, we're still thinking about this like a graph. We're thinking about thinking about these where these two lines are going to cross. So we have a line at y equals 20 and a line at y equals x plus 15. Those two lines are going to cross where our x's and our y's are the same. So we're looking for a point where our x and our y are the same. But we already know that y equals 20. And if we want these y's to be the same, then if this y is 20, that means that this y is also 20. So we're going to take that 20 and we're going to substitute it on in right there. So we're going to have 20 equals x plus 15. Oh, we know how to solve those. We've been solving those since like last year, at least. So if we want to get rid of that adding 15, we're going to subtract the 15. These are gone. 20 minus 15 gives you 5. And now we have x. But we already had y. So if we've got both x and y, now we have our point. So our point is at, remember points go x and then y. So our point is 5, 20. So that's the point where if we graph these two, those would cross. So remember, even if we're not graphing these, what we're looking for is going to end up as a point. So we're not looking for just a number, we're looking for a coordinate point. It just happened that we already had one of the numbers that we wanted. All right, let's try it. All right. So same sort of thing here. I've already got this y. And if we want these lines to cross, this y is going to have to be the same. So we're going to take that 17 and we're going to plug it in there. And instead of this y, we're going to have a 17 equals, this is still going to be an x plus 8. So we took the 17, we put it here. Now we're going to solve that. If we want to get rid of adding 8, weird. Hopefully it said subtracting 8 in this page. These are gone. 17 minus 8 is 9. And now we have x, and again, we already had y. So we have x, which is 9. We have y, which is 17. We have our point. Yay. Let's try this. Oh dear, this one has some negatives. So we don't change what we're doing just because there are suddenly negatives. So we're still going to take that negative 17 and we're going to substitute it on in for that y. Just watch out, don't lose that negative when you're plugging it in. So this is a negative 17 equals that 4x plus 3. And now we're going to solve that for x. So again, if we have more than one step there, we're getting rid of adding or subtracting before we're getting rid of multiplying or dividing. So we're getting rid of that adding 3 by subtracting 3, and then we're going to deal with that 4. Negative 17 minus 3 gets you negative 20. And this is still a 4x. Now we're going to divide by that 4. And negative 20 divided by 4 gets you a negative 5. 4's cancel. And we got x. And again, we already had y, so we got a point at negative 5. And then y was negative 17. So there's our point. So again, even though we're not graphing these, we're looking for that point where they would be crossing. Let's try one more of those. That's a little bit tricky. Okay, same sort of thing. We've got y. It's up here this time rather than down here, but we're doing the same thing. So we're going to take that negative 15 and we're going to plug it in here. So we got negative 15. Don't forget to put the negative on. Equals x minus 23. And we're going to get rid of subtracting 23 by adding 23. These are gone. Negative 15 plus a positive 23 gets you a positive 8. And again, we already had this y. So we got 8 for x. We got negative 15 for y. And there we go. Now we're going to make it a little bit trickier, but not too bad today. Alright, what if our y isn't just a number? What if our y has some x's in it over here? So we're still going to start off with the same thing. So instead of plugging in a 2 for y, we're going to plug in a 2x. So we're taking this whole thing and we're putting it in place of y. So we're substituting that in for y. So we got a 2x equals, this is still an x minus 5. And then we're going to solve that for x. So if there's not a number in front of there, it's automatically a 1. We're going to subtract the 1x. We're going to subtract the 1x. These are gone, and watch out for when you're doing that. Don't lose that negative that's hanging out in front of that 5. And 2x minus 1x is 1x, also known as just x. Okay, now we have the x for our point. But this time, we didn't have a number for y. We had y in terms of x up here. So we have y equals this, or we have y equals this. But now we have x. So now we can take x, and we can plug that negative 5 in, either here or here. And as long as we did this right, you should get the same thing either way. Because again, what we're looking for is the point that'll make both of these lines the same. So we're looking for the point where they cross. So whichever one I plug x into, I should get the same thing for y. So we'll just go ahead and double check if I'm doing that. So if I plug in negative 5 here, I've got y equals 2 times negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Or if I plug it in back here, I've got y equals negative 5 minus 5, which is also negative 10. So if you plug it back into both and get the same thing, that's a pretty good indication that, yeah, we did this right. So that gives us a negative 10 for our y. So if you're looking at your number going, I don't know if that's right, go ahead and plug x on into the other one too. And if you get the same thing, you did it right. Yeah, let's try one more of those. Alright, same sort of thing. So we're going to start off by taking that 3x, and we're going to put it where we had a y. So now this y is a 3x, and this x minus 8 is still an x minus 8. So the only thing we changed there again was we changed that y into a 3x, because we know y equaled 3x up here. So this y turned into a 3x. Okay, same sort of thing. Now we're going to solve for x. If there's not a number out front, it's automatically a 1. So we're going to subtract the 1x. We're going to subtract the 1x. These are gone. 3x minus 1x is 2x. And watch out for don't lose that negative that's in front of that 8. And then we're dividing by 2. Negative 8 divided by 2 gets you negative 4, which is the first part of our point. So we know our point is negative 4 something. And then if we want to find that something, we're going to go back, we're going to plug that negative 4 in for x. And again, you could do that either here or you can do that here. Either one's fine. If you've got like one equation that's a lot simpler than the other, then you'd want to use that one. But these ones, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, either one's going to be pretty nice. So we're either taking 3 times negative 4, which will give you negative 12. Make that down a little bit bigger there. Or you're taking negative 4 minus 8, which will also give you negative 12. So again, if we get the same thing there, pretty good indication that yes, we did that right, so our y is going to be a negative 12. And there's our point. Alright, so that's as tricky as it's going to get today. It's going to get a little bit messier once we're back in person, which is why I saved that stuff for in person rather than trying to tack that on the end of this video. So that's why the assignment's going to end up being a little bit shorter. Just a heads up that there's more. I just didn't want to, go through that in a video if there was a chance to go through that in person instead. All right, so numbers are in the description below, and I will see you next time.